want to talk about what happened to me with 101 things. Hold on, I'm going to turn off the fan. No, maybe I won't turn off the fan. I like the fan right now. But, I worked for Gregg Gardiner. I had a job with him. But actually it started out that I designed a bunch of stuff for him. I was freelance, actually. And I designed a website. It was my website. I designed the whole thing. I registered the domain. But like an idiot, we didn't really have an agreement. And being a shark-eyed, raging narcissist and crook, as he turned out to be, he, one day, after I'd been working on this thing for years, and, I got some checks, but not really much, not for what it was worth, and he had my landlord, who was a tech guy that I worked with, and who I didn't know was spying on me and recording my passwords. This guy named Luther Burney, and real sleazeball. He was MAGA before there was MAGA. He was like in the early 2000s. He was into the QAnon type crap, and believed in chemtrails and kind of an RFK Jr. kind of a character, and just as ignorant and sleazy. And we had a doorway between our apartments because his apartment was actually a suite off of my apartment, and I rented my apartment from him. So if he wanted to, he could just unlock the door and come into my place, which he supposedly never did, and I should have kept safeguards on that door. But one day he broke into my place and took my passwords off my computer and forged my signature on a domain transfer document into Gregg Gardiner's name, and had Gregg Gardiner hit me with $100,000 lawsuit so that I couldn't fight it. It's called a slap suit. John Oliver did an excellent video about slap suits if you want to know, but they're designed to repress the person that gets them so that the person that receives the suit, who they know can't afford a fancy ass lawyer, will get fucked over. So Gregg Gardiner sold the magazine and the website to or maybe he just sold the website to Gannett Publishing for $8 million. And everybody else in the company seemingly got a share of that except for me. And just sucked. And my ex-business partner, who also bailed on me and tried to steal my entire business and almost got away with it, got some of that money too, and he went into business with this guy named Mike Miller, and they started an adventure magazine. They even used a lot of my concepts, and I'm pretty sure I saw even some of my graphics being used. And they made a shitload of money too. And I knew that these fucks were doing this, because Greg Gardiner also worked with this dude that went to jail named Gary Baldwin, and this asshole was worked for an optometrist or an ophthalmologist in Arizona and embezzled $300,000. Then he moved to Kauai, this fat piece of shit, and his stupid fucking dogs. Sorry, no offense to fat people. I'm fat myself right now a bit. And, yeah, he ripped off this doctor for $300,000, and for 20 years on Kauai used his real face and name and ran an outfit called the Kauai Economic Development Board, KEDB. And he and Gregg Gardiner were thick as thieves. They had a cabin in Kokee together that they would stay in all the time. Gregg had all this fancy ass cars and all this shit, and he really thought we were stupid because he'd always throw his wealth in our faces. But I think everybody knew what was going on. They just didn't know what to do. They just didn't know how to deal with it. It was like Donald Trump on a mini scale. And this dude, Gregg Gardiner, also went to the Congress and got them to sell him Citizens Electric and call it KIUC, Kauai Island Utility Co-op, which it's now runs the electrical utility on Kauai. This corrupt asshole. And all his friends, his whole office, up and moved from 101 Things, all of them, and went plunk straight down into KIUC. And I know a lot of this happened because I did the graphics for the proposal, so I saw the binders going out. I saw Danny Inoue come in, Hawaiian senator, dude with one arm, because he lost it during the war, and he was a very respected congressman, and he came around and he inspected the office and smiled at everyone and seemed very friendly in general. And but I knew that something was up when that happened. And next thing you know, I saw a lot of those people. I think Roger Cable was involved. Roger Cable's this big petroleum tycoon on Kauai. This lady, God, what was her name? And then Greg Gardiner's girlfriend, and then Mike, and not pointing fingers here, but his accountant, who was coming home blind drunk every night and sleeping with his secretary, who also went to KIUC, and he died. But he lived upstairs from us, and one night I heard his crash outside, and I came outside, and this car was hung up in the bushes in front of my apartment, and it was a truck, and Mike was like passed out on the wheel, and the car had crashed through the bushes. That's not the only time I saw something like that happen. It's happened like 3 times in my life, actually, that kind of a thing, that I've witnessed it. I don't know if I'll be talking about all that, but yeah, sucks. Greg Gardiner sucks. 101 Things sucks. The magazine's ruined. It looks like a piece of garbage. The website, I haven't checked if it's still online, but that was written in a whole system I wrote. But back before there was a WordPress, I wrote several frameworks that I like WordPress. Actually, I wrote a framework like something between WordPress and Facebook, but I never released it. Because I was working with this artist dude who was also very talented, but kind of a pain in the ass too. But hey, you know, we're all pains in the asses. We can't forgive each other for that. But still, you sometimes learn people's character too late. And all these people, God, I feel like I've been in a fucking surrounded by vipers my whole life. Really. But yeah, fuck those guys. They suck.